Nope.
Hey everybody, I'm Dr. NBA. Today, I have an interesting story to share with you. Typical men usually play games at least once when they are young. But after getting a job, time spent playing games decreases, and after getting married and having kids, being devoted to the family is most important, which leaves no time to even watch the computer. But with the fact of having 3 children, there is a man who did not give up playing games. Even when his adorable daughter would joke around, he did not budge when it came to games. That father's name is Gordon Hayward. He is an NBA player. LOL, Fortnite, StarCraft, etc. Played various sorts of games. People around him say that his gaming skills are enough to enter pro game tournaments. It's hard to grasp how much time is spent playing games for him. But does that mean he is a low-class NBA player? That is not the case at all. In fact, till the last part of the 18-19 season, out of all the Celtics, he had the highest paid salary. Plus that, his wife was stunning. Wow, it's impossible not to envy him. Anyways, he makes great money and plays all the games he wants. This special married man. Today, I'll be introducing you to Hayward. In 1990, Indianapolis, US, Hayward was born as one of 2 twins, and at a young age, he treated his younger twin sister as a daily rival and grew his competitiveness there, not wanting to lose any games to her. That competitive mindset stayed with him while playing tennis, and as he started to play sports, Hayward met basketball and started falling in love with it and showed potential in both sports. But in his 10th grade, he had to pick one sport for university, and at that time he wouldn't get any taller, so he had his mind fixed on tennis. But the doctor said he still had room for him to grow, and finally decided to play basketball and started practicing the basic fundamentals of it. And after that, in grade 12, his height was at 6'5", and now playing in his top game, Hayward, in the high school finals of Indiana, would get the buzzer beater and had won the championship. Now being the top prospect in the area of Indiana, he would enter Buckley University that was in the same state, and the head coach at the time, Brad Stevens, told him, "I'm going to send you to the NBA no matter what," and gave Hayward a strong message. And so, fate was no joke, because Hayward really ended up going to the NBA, and Brad is now his current head coach as well. He had to train to get ready for entering the NBA, and had to get certain grades in order for him to play in the first division university games, and couldn't be lazy and had to study, so Hayward, even though he loved games so much, did not stop playing games. Till middle school, he was addicted to the game StarCraft, and in high school played Halo, a FPS game, and even went as far as to make a team and enter a tournament. That's how much he loved games, and how much time he spent playing them. And in university, he started to play the infamous League of Legends. NBA is no second-class league, and is a place for the best players in the world, and he had a goal to get there. Plus that had to focus on studying, but was still playing computer games? This looks like the typical way of failing, without doubt. But the funny thing is, he successfully entered the NBA, and kept his grades up, and went to all practices, and even played all the games as a starter. In his 2nd grade in the league with 10 universities, went 18 wins and 0 losses, and won the championship. And after that played in a team that represented the area, and came 2nd in the NCAA tournament. And at that time the scoring leader for the team was Gordon Hayward. And in an interview he said that he got his competitiveness, his reflexes, and his basketball IQ from playing video games. I think he's just a genius, to be honest, and he would have succeeded in whatever he did. Anyways, after reaching the top stats for himself and the team, he entered the 2010 NBA draft and was picked 9th overall by the Utah Jazz, where he would start his career off. But the NBA is a different world compared to what he has faced so far. In this league, there are a bunch of players that are all smart and well-focused, just like Hayward. Plus that, they were much bigger and were in better shape. Not working out to get buff, Hayward was obviously struggling against the players in the NBA. So in his rookie days, the veterans of the team apparently didn't like his laziness and said some bitter words towards him. But still, Hayward never gave up his gaming hobby, and after game days when they had no practices, he would go online and play LOL in StarCraft 2. And he even got recognized as a gamer in StarCraft 2 and participated in a qualifying tournament. A game mania like this, in a pro basketball league with amazing competitors as a position in the NBA, it doesn't make sense, and yet Hayward has a main position. In his 2nd year, he was a starting member, and he did go back and forth on the bench and starting lineup in his 3rd year. But in both years had 2-digit average points and was 3rd in the team. And luckily enough, in his 4th year in the 13-14 season, the 1st and 2nd leaders that were ahead of him moved to different teams. As a result, he became a key player on the team and started in all the games and tried whatever he wanted, being average scoring leader of the team. With his genius mind and the luck that followed Hayward, his 4th year came to an end, and was known to be the star player for the Utah Jazz. But the contract Hayward made when he was a rookie ended and left him as a free agent. But at the same time, the Charlotte Hornets offered him a max deal of $63 million for 4 years. This amount in the NBA rules, with Hayward's experience, is the most money that could be offered, and the Utah Jazz, in order not to lose him, offered the same amount of money and successfully signed with him. But the fans thought he was getting paid too much compared to what he had to offer. At the end of the 13-14 season, the Utah Jazz were 15th in the Western Conference, being last. It didn't matter that he was the top scorer on the team, because in reality, in a top-tier team, he would be just a pretty good bench member. But the maximum amount of money of a contract was made with his gamer already. But with the criticism of the fans, Hayward decided to live up to the contract's expectation and made a goal on focusing on basketball alone. And approaching the 14-15 season, he bulked up in the summer and changed his hairstyle, coming back as a completely different person. After the Utah Jazz saw his transformation, they trusted him with many roles on the team, and as a result he improved every year, and the team slowly rose from last place. And so 7 years after his debut, the 16-17 season, Hayward had an average of 21.9 points, finally leading the team to the playoffs, and even got picked for the first time to the All-Stars. The Utah fans were impressed with Hayward's transformation compared to when he signed a massive contract 3 years ago. But nothing has really changed. He played games nevertheless, and in 2014 he even went to a North American pro LOL gamer's house that he admired and gamed it with them there. Overwatch, Hearthstone, etc., the amount of games he played increased. And in 2016 he had become the model for a gaming equipment facility. And the weakness he had when he was a rookie, his physique, was gone after he bulked up. And even though he gamed that much, he was still picked as an NBA All-Star. And seeing that he also led his team to the playoffs, I guess there is such a thing as being born with it. But he was an athlete, and had a conscience when it came to the championship. And when the season ended, he became a free agent, and he thought if he stayed in the Utah Jazz, he would not be able to win the championship, so he looked for a better team. But luckily enough, the head coach of the Boston Celtics contacted him, and surprisingly enough, he was his former coach in the university, Brad Stevens. And those two people met once again, and so Hayward signed a 4-year, $127 million massive contract. And that amount would be the highest amount of all the players in Boston, and was 6th overall out of all the NBA players. And when the contract was completed, there was a lot of talk whether he was a bust or not, but all that talk changed in his new team in the 17-18's opening game when a tragedy hit. October 17th, 2017 was the opening game, and Hayward trying to prove his worth compared to his contract was starting. And 5 minutes into the game, when receiving an alley-oop pass, crashed into a defenseman, and in the landing process twisted his left ankle and was injured. The bone breaking could be heard was how serious the injury was, and the players and the fans gasped when it happened, and they couldn't bear to watch and turned away, and past players' eyes who have had injury experiences started to become bloodshot red. But thankfully it wasn't the ruptured ligament, which is the broken bone, and if he had surgery and the right rehabilitation, he would be able to run on the court once again. And the next day, his surgery was successful, and a few days later Hayward went to the stadium and gave his fans a greeting. But that game was his last for him in Boston in his first season, and only focused on recovering. Only 2 weeks after surgery, he went on the court and started his rehab so he wouldn't lose his touch, and even practiced shooting while in a wheelchair. And to get his quad strength back, he started with exercising his toes, and his legs got much better in rehab. And only 6 months after his surgery, he would run for the first time. And with the time till the next season with his ankle feeling better, he entered a training camp in September 2018, and the next month, October 16th, he was a starting member in the opening game for the 18-19 season. Hayward stated in an interview that his rehab was the toughest time of his life, and also the most boring. Honestly, he couldn't do anything for a year, and staying home for rehab was the truth, but he played a lot of LOL and Fortnite as well. In that time, he gamed with a famous streamer online, and Hayward in an interview before his comeback in August 2018 said that there is no athlete in the world that is better at Fortnite than he was, and he gave his word for it. He must be confident, maybe because he built homes and shot guns that much for a year. He started in the opening game, but maybe because of his former injury, his play had fallen, and in the first half of the 18-19 season in the 14 games he played, he scored only single digits in most of them. Getting paid the most on the team, Hayward, compared to the amount of game time played, was not performing well, and ended up on the bench. Fortunately, in the last bit of the season, he recovered his usual form, and more often than not showed good performance, and did not get any more serious injuries, and played 72 games with an average of 11.5 points ending the season. But on July 1st, when the 1920 season started, the Boston Association, in the process of recruiting free agents, the fans and people criticized how expensive Hayward was and was not happy with it. The NBA Association put a limit on how much money could be spent on players on each team, but with a normal bench player like Hayward getting top-class money, in Boston's point of view, had a limited amount of money to spend on average-class players that they wanted to recruit. So Hayward has to show in this season that he could be an all-star player like he was in his Utah days and show the same amount of skill, but if he isn't able to show that, I believe there is no choice but to trade him away. At an early age, competing against his younger twin sister, gaining athleticism and focus, and building a great basketball career, can Hayward beat the slump he has gotten due to his injury and gain the skills he had in the past? It's something to look forward to, but also something to worry about. But even if he doesn't gain all his skill traits back, he gets $25.8 million a year while gaming it at home, and has a beautiful wife and 3 beautiful daughters, and knowing that he's living happily ever after just leaves us to envy him. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back with better content next time. If you liked the video, feel free to subscribe.